1, 2, 3, go! Hello and welcome back to another episode of Escapades. Joining me as always is Lee.
Hello, Mr. Callum, and yes, as he said, welcome to episode 10. We're into double digits, sir.
Happy days and it's going well.
Absolutely, having great fun. And to celebrate, in a way, we put out a couple of little questionnaires for you all.
We have, and surprisingly, our loo roll questionnaire got more feedback than our post we wanted feedback on.
Yeah, no, we were hoping to hear a little bit more from you guys about what you'd like to hear, but apparently everyone feels very strongly about the way we hang toilet roll. Well, not us. People. Everyone.
People in general. Me personally, I don't care.
No, I can't say it's something I feel...
I thought I'd put my 2 pence in.
Pun intended?
Yes.
So, yeah, no, apparently a lot of you feel very, very strongly about the way you hang toilet roll. I might tentatively suggest you need some more exciting things in your life.
Our podcast could be one of them.
Our podcast could be one of them. But I do enjoy the fact that a couple of you actually added
yes,
some options in there as well. So I'd initially just gone with, okay, people are feeling strongly about it, so you've got the front and the
front and the back. You were going to say, weren't you?
I was going to say the front and the back, yeah. I kind of realised how that was going to sound and stopped myself. But thank you very much for pointing it out, Callum.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
So yeah, we have the 2 traditional ones of over and under, which is kind of what I'd expected you guys to go with. And over has been the standout winner, by the way, Callum. You voted for under.
I did.
Along with like 3 other people.
I just wanted to be different.
Well, 3 other people agree with you.
Excellent.
But we did also have 2 options added as well, which we particularly enjoyed. We've got Deborah Barry, who's added, I do not have a toilet roll holder.
I found that quite funny.
Yeah.
And Molly Potter, which I chuckled too profusely about. Now, every time I go into someone's bathroom, I'm going to remove the loo roll from the holder and put it out of reach on the floor, because that is hilarious.
Just to clarify, the option Molly added was on the floor, just out of reach, which... Yeah, so now I think we might have to go with little petty wins. When you go into someone's bathroom, unhook the toilet roll and just put it just out of reach on the floor. Because I think that's brilliant, Molly. So thank you for that.
Because you won't see their outrage, but they're going to have to do some sort of scoot to try and.
You know it's going to happen, yeah. And I think honestly, I think some of the best kind of wins are just the ones that are completely. You don't even need to see it.
No, like another good one I just thought of now is if you take the sugar out of someone's sugar bar and put salt in it instead.
Oh, there's a special place in hell for people like you.
Because it's just funny. Or take the batteries out of someone's remote. Why is this not working? You know what? I'll take the batteries out and rotate them. That'll work. But,
I've always wanted to do something like just leave. Doesn't really matter what, like a packet of pepperami or a watermelon, a pineapple, just on someone's doorstep and then piss off. I've always wanted to do that. I'm not quite sure why. Because it's not something horrific. They're not going to go, oh my god, I feel so attacked, someone left a pineapple on my doorstep. Or if they do, they've got their own share of issues. But you know you're going to be the topic of conversation for the next month. There's always going to be that story of, do you know, back when I lived around there, I've no idea why, but someone left a pineapple on my doorstep.
That would be quite funny. It almost goes hand in hand with the story. You got to pick like the 3 most unusual items and go through and check out.
Yes.
So my personal favourite, which I'd love to do, is a tub of Vaseline, some condoms, and a cucumber. Just to see the person on the till's reaction.
Personally, I'd go with a pregnancy test, a bottle of whiskey, and a set of coat hangers.
That would be quite. Although I wouldn't suggest leaving these on anyone's doorstep. Just put. Yeah.
Or if you do leave those on someone's doorstep, we are not going to be held responsible for what happens to you. Oh dear, that would be fantastic.
Could be pranks gone wrong.
Yes, no, just for my money, the best sort of kind of practical joke. You almost don't need the laugh, but I just want. I don't want to upset someone. I just want general weirdness.
Mm. I saw a funny story. Someone had checked the book out from my library, and then they just, done some pun on the book, and then returned it. And someone had found it 20 years later, and it's you've been trolled from the grave or something.
That was a school book. I remember seeing that. Yes, yes.
I can't quite remember, but it was something like that,
Yeah.
and it was.
What we're also going to do is we're going to set up a questionnaire to release with this episode. So that'll be, for us, that'll be next week. For you guys, that'll be today. Asking you what you think the worst 3, or the best 3, if you will, items you could get from a supermarket would be. So we'll put Callum's suggestion up there.
Yep. And we'll also put Lee's suggestion up there.
And we will leave it open for adding further options. Now,
Yeah, we should.
it's got to be stuff you can actually buy from a supermarket. So if you're putting, Vladimir Putin and nuclear warhead and some Vaseline, yes, it would be a great idea. It's also, they're not on sale.
No. Well, I think you could find Vaseline, but
So it's got to be things you can actually get from the supermarket. Otherwise, it just ain't going to work.
the more unusual, the weirder, or the funnier, the better.
We want something that's going to make the checkout, this hypothetical checkout clerk go, what? But yeah, so maybe whichever one gets the most votes, we'll actually go and do and see how that turns out, because that could be very entertaining for all of us. So do get involved, please.
The question is, Lee, if we did it in a few stores, what we're going to do with all the cucumbers and lube?
I mean, I don't want to know what you're going to do with the cucumbers and lube, Callum. I can imagine, and I wish I couldn't.
Yeah, we'll just move on.
Just try not to fall on a bedpost, eh?
Oh, we don't need to be reminded about this.
I mean, I'm the only one. You're the only one being reminded.
Yeah, well, that's a painful time in my life. Quite literally painful. You're questioning whether or not to go into it, aren't you?
I am questioning whether or not to go into it, whether to share it with the listeners.
I don't mind. I'm happy to share.
Don't know exactly how much. Well, I wasn't there, to be fair.
Well, thank you weren't, mate. That'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it?
I mean, it would be a bit weird for you. For me.
I don't know, mate. You would have got a whiff of blood and you might have been all up in that shit.
Oh, for sakes. Also, pun intended.
Quite literally. Okay, I'm composed.
So my understanding, you've told me this story, and yeah, is that you were undergoing some experimentation, weren't you, Mr. Callum?
Yes, I think we should just put a trigger warning out. This part is going to include some sexual references, and Mum and Dad, if you don't want to know about what happened, skip the next 3-4 minutes because it is rather graphic.
Oh, I'd forgotten your mum and dad listened to this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy to be sharing this.
Okay. So, one of my ex-partners, we were, in the bedroom, getting a bit frisky, as it were, and she pulled out some anal beads.
Some anal beads.
And I thought, you know what? I can handle about 1 or 2 notches, no problem. Go and at it. And all of a sudden, I needed the toilet. I stood up, stepped on a plug, and putting it bluntly, I landed on my bedpost, which was obviously a flat surface, not one of the usual
Okay, so
ones.
it was like a bed, the foot of the bed, right?
Yeah.
Or like a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I fell on the corner, on the bottom of the toy, and I got more than the 2 inches I initially thought.
Yeah, you got all the beads,
I got
everything.
the whole 9 yards, not 9 yards, the whole 9
I mean, that
inches.
would be truly terrifying.
The whole 9 inches. And if it wasn't for the guard on the bottom, that would have disappeared and I would have had an interesting trip to A&E.
Oh,
I mean,
fantastic.
needless to say, I have a high pain threshold, but that breached my threshold quite literally.
I'm sure they were fun to
I
get
won't
back
go
out
into
as
too
well.
much detail, but no, pulling out hurt, everything hurt, and there was
A little bit of blood.
a little bit of blood, which I hear you're into, Lee, so...
I'm not into... No. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's that story. Again, sorry Mum and Dad if you don't listen to that.
I'm not.
It hurt. So yeah, that's fun.
Jumping back very briefly to what we were talking about before then, though. Because
Yeah.
not only are we going to get that questionnaire going, just moving away from the anal bits.
Yeah, thank
Not
you.
only do we want to get that questionnaire going, but we would actually like, if you've got any other questions, any other suggestions, we'd still like to hear from those. So do pop them. Either message them to us. We'll go over how to contact us at the end of the show,
Exactly.
or post them in Espresso Babe on Facebook. We would just love to see more of what you want to know about, what you'd
Exactly.
like to see us doing.
Rather than us just doing what we're doing, which we're happy to do.
Well, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, I'm having a great time, but we obviously want you guys to enjoy it and keep you guys engaged rather than just... I mean, we could be going on thinking, you know what, that's a great episode. You guys think, you know what, you guys are boring.
I mean, I think you're boring, Callum.
Then you have a judge of character because I am not boring. I don't think.
No, you're not. You're not boring. So yeah, please do tell us a little bit more about what you'd like to hear. We would love to hear it. And in exchange, Callum won't tell you any more about his anal beads.
I will not tell any more about that particular story. However, I do have a full arsenal of fun.
Oh, there are so many stories, and my favourites are the ones you hate the most.
Well, wouldn't anyone's?
Yes. Yes. We won't go into some of them because...
We're not going into that one. I know exactly what you were thinking, and no.
Well, the reason I'm not going into it is because I know at least one person is a part of the group.
Yes. Listens.
Yes. Who's a part? Someone who's involved in that story listens, and it doesn't feel fair to bring in.
No.
So we won't go into that one.
It makes me sick just thinking about it.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, do feel free to ask Callum about that in person.
Yes.
He loves sharing that story.
Or message me and I will not tell you the story.
It definitely doesn't make him feel highly uncomfortable.
Nope. Anyway, moving on to more comfortable topics.
Moving on. Yes. So, shall we get
having a stroke?
Not right now, mate. I thought that would be a bit inappropriate.
True, the cats are watching.
Insert pussy pun here.
Yes.
Anyway, so moving swiftly on. So. Have you got anything in terms of what's going on?
I do, and it's quite a funny story, but the story's boring, so I'll just abbreviate it.
It's quite a funny story, but the story's boring.
No, like the explanation of the
You realise
stories.
that makes no f***ing sense, right?
Okay, the headline's funny, but how they explained it was a massive f***ing page, and...
Give us the cliff notes.
That's what I've done. I've abbreviated it to the funny parts, which I thought funny.
Nice.
Okay, do you want me to start?
I would love for you to start, Callum.
Alright, maybe later. No. So the headline which I went for was Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina explodes in my living room.
Nice. Right.
That's the title.
How old is Gwyneth Paltrow these days?
I'm not too sure, but it was she started selling a vagina scented candle.
Why?
Because she could and it made money.
What? Why buy that?
Well, it's because her previous product, Sex Dust.
What?
Yeah, she sold a product called Sex Dust.
What is
for
Sex
£56. Dust? I don't know. I don't want to know. But obviously...
Sounds like pube dandruff.
Basically, you can sell anything these days. If that Twitch streamer sold her bathwater and made loads of money out of it, people are going to buy Gwyneth Paltrow's scented candles.
People are just messed up, man. And this is me saying this. This is us.
Yeah.
Why?
It turns out there was a lawsuit. A guy is trying to sue them for $5 million in damages. Not obviously just him, a load of other people whose candles have erupted. And
okay, so it's a group suit for $5 million.
I just found it quite funny.
Because they've exploded.
Yeah.
The vagina scented candles have exploded.
But the funny thing is,
there's some joke in there somewhere.
No, but it's... I think on the candle it says Gwyneth Paltrow on the top, and it smells like my vagina. And I think it was because a while back she had that problem where she had to pay $118,000 to get her, foo-foo medically treated.
For what?
I don't know. I just know there was... I didn't want to read into it too much because that doesn't really interest me. Gwyneth Paltrow's vaginal problems.
Yeah, but I just want to know what it was treated for now. She's spending 100...
It was 118,000.
118,000?
I mean, if it was in...
What was wrong with it?
Well, this is America, so it's not free.
No, but... Well, not free is one thing. It's
infected or something, or I don't know. Something, I don't want to go into too much detail because...
I want to know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so after a brief interlude and a little bit of time on Google, it turns out that unfortunately Mr. Callum was not entirely correct.
No.
She hasn't had a £100,000 operation or $100,000 operation on her vagina. But her company was sued for that, for something.
Legal fees for the candle, like...
Oh, that was for the candle.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just somehow threw the word operation in there. But apparently this isn't the first time she's done weird stuff like this, because some woman in Canada got some rather nasty burns trying to follow Gwyneth Paltrow's recommendations on vagina steaming.
Which is...
Squatting over very hot water with herbs infused into it.
Why would you do that?
You're not supposed to actually get in the water. But
No.
yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows why anyone would do that, feel free to let us know. It's not exactly an area with which we are particularly familiar.
No. So, Lee, that's my story done and dusted. Do you want to tell us yours?
So I've seen a couple. One of them I'm not going to go into too much because I've seen it doing the rounds on the internet already.
Yeah.
So I suspect, especially by the time a week has gone by,
Other people.
you guys are going to have seen it already. Which is the one about the Hull couple who are going to go to a comedy club in Blackpool. Did you hear about that?
No.
They did. Okay. Well, effectively, they tried to demand a refund from the comedy club in Blackpool because Blackpool was closer to the Ukraine and therefore it wasn't safe for them to go.
What?
Or possibly Hull was closer to the Ukraine.
That's stupid.
Yeah, due to the events in Russia and Ukraine, it's not safe for us to travel as we're both retired. So I'm not
Is that
sure.
an elderly couple by any chance?
It is an elderly couple
it is.
who, are worried that their travel from Hull to Blackpool isn't going to be safe because Russia invaded the Ukraine.
What, do they think they're going to bomb the highways?
Do they think, who would bomb Blackpool?
I don't know.
I mean, with all due respect, I've been. If anyone listening from Blackpool is listening, I'm sorry, but I've been to Blackpool. It's like Big Yarmouth.
Yeah.
Bombing Blackpool would be a distinct improvement.
You know, that's dark even by my standards.
I think the same about Yarmouth, just to clarify. But yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to go too much into that, but there was the whole fallout where they were arguing with the people who said, quite rightly, we're not going to give you your tickets back because it doesn't affect England in the slightest.
Yeah. Guess if you don't try, you won't get, will you?
Well, in this case, if you do try, you also won't get. And that couple are very stupid people.
Mm.
But this is the one I enjoyed slightly more, just because it's not quite so
Stupid.
well. No, it's just not quite so well publicised, I suspect, and it's just a nice little story. So here's the headline for you, Callum: Depressed parrot who stops talking finds voice and tells new owner to f*** off.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
In parrot form.
I mean, it's not a mega deep story. This is a parrot that was rescued.
As we know, the parrot's depressed.
Because it was doing things parrots do when they're depressed. So firstly, it wasn't talking, which parrots do.
Okay.
They mimic the people that are around. And secondly, it was plucking out its feathers.
Oh.
So, which is again, it's what birds do when
Yeah.
pet birds do when they're stressed. So yeah, it was a very not happy parrot. They've rehomed him, and yeah, his initial when he finally got happy enough to start talking, his first response was to tell his new owners to f*** off.
That's great.
Which is just...
Imagine getting a parrot and she tells you to f*** off the bat.
Though, to be fair, I did actually also know someone whom I used to work with, a lady called Julie. Julie, if you're listening, I hope you're well. Who also had a parrot that would tell people to f*** off. They also had a very, very tiny daughter. I mean, not tiny in terms of age, just tiny in terms of, like, she was a borderline dwarf. Katie, if you're listening, hi. And she was very, very small. That's very short, very slender. And this parrot just kept saying, "Katie's fat." Just consistently. And this is like the tiniest person you've ever seen. But no, constantly, "Katie's fat, Katie's fat." Which is...
I think if I was an animal, I'd be the perfect parrot.
Yes.
Wait, that's my new thing. That's my new thing. Do you know when people say, "Oh, well, if you could be any animal, what would you be?" I'm going to be like a cockatoo, is it?
You're a cock, alright?
Or is it Malawi? The parrot. Normally they're like white.
Cockatiel, isn't it?
Cockatiel. Either way. Yes, I think I'm going to now
That's
choose
your
parrot.
spirit animal.
I'm going to choose parrot because you could say whatever you wanted.
Your spirit animal is a sweary parrot.
As long as I had myself talking to me as a parrot, and I could just... Could you imagine the carnage if I had a parrot?
That'd be great. You should definitely have a parrot. They live for a long time, though, you know.
Could you imagine that? It
Like
could be like
40 years. Something
we
stupid
had a
like that.
parrot as our special guest today is... Oh, that's comedy. That is.
Anyway, so yeah, no, that was my story, and it's actually just a quite nice little story as well, because the parrot's got a new home. The parrot is happy. It also turns out to be a bit of a sailor, but there you go. Yeah. So, Callum, how have you been getting on with your Tinder lines? Because I know last week you were having a little bit of a
Bit of a downer.
which, as we spoke about, is understandable. It can be a bit disheartening, but have you been messaging some very lucky women?
I'm not sure if very lucky. Maybe just.
Have you been
slightly
messaging some very unlucky women?
I have, yes. And I chose to go with the Tinder line that Stacey had given you.
Ah, yes. Are you a mirror? Because I can see myself inside you.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a little cringy, but it's also quite. I feel
It's
like it's
quite
not
good.
too. So I reached out to a few people on Tinder. I said that sounds a bit weird. Reached out, but a few people on Tinder, a few people on Puff. Just thought I'd see what sort of. I've had 3 responses.
3 responses.
3 responses, and one of the women on Puff, I don't quite know how to take their response
Right.
because I obviously said the line, and they said, "Well, the mirror you're looking in must be pretty f***ing cracked."
I think that was a rejection of the line, mate.
I think so as
I
well.
think that was a no. Did you follow up? No.
No, I didn't know what to respond. I just, I leave it at that. That it can stop there.
Nah, you got to follow it up, mate. There's always there's a rescue. You can dig it back out. At least you got a response, mate. Go with it. Follow on.
But that's alright. I'm a pro glass blower. I'm sure I can fix it.
Hey, there we go.
Okay. And the second one was also on Puff, and
Yeah.
I said, "Are you a mirror? Because I can see myself inside of you." And they said, "I don't own a mirror." I was like, I think that's a rejection, but I was like, did you miss the pun, or was that I just can't see the rejection?
Again, you've got to follow up, buddy. I mean, keep going. I'd love to hear that some of these lines have actually got you somewhere a bit more exciting.
Yeah, and I think this one is probably my
Your favourite one?
my favourite response. This was on Tinder,
Yeah.
and I was completely like, I just sent like a laughy face as a response. So I sent to this girl on Tinder, obviously, "Are you a mirror? Because I can see myself inside of you. If I was a mirror, it would surely be cracked if you looked into it."
I think that's calling you ugly, mate.
I think that's calling me ugly, yeah. And I was just like, laughy face, laughy face, thanks. And I didn't get a response.
No, that was a...
But you know what? I found it f***ing hilarious. So, yeah, that is that.
Oh, dear.
Although,
Well,
going on to Tinder lines, I do have 2 more that were sent in.
do you?
Yes. One of them was from Charlie, which is, "We all die someday. Want to go out with me?" ?
That's terrible. I love it.
That's quite funny. And the other one is Sam,
Yeah.
and he has said, "I don't normally use pickup lines, but I'm not trying to pick you up. I just want to pin you down."
Hey.
Devil horn face.
Borderline sexual assaulty, but I think that's okay. Yeah.
So there's
That's
2 I'm
okay.
going to try out this week, and I am going to send out more, so I'm trying to get more responses. And even if I say, "Hey, I'd appreciate your feedback on this chat line."
Again, mate, we'd like it to actually go well for you, so maybe don't just ask them.
At least I'll get a response.
Yeah, that's very true.
Hey, I'd like your genuine response to this chat line. Don't care if it's like an awesome shutdown. So that is my Tinder experiences. So thank you, Stacey, for that.
Yes, no, we've actually made some progress. Well, I have also had a couple of Tinder lines sent in, Callum.
Yes.
One of them I think is, it's either going to be really good or people just aren't going to get it, but I think it's really clever.
So if they understand it, then they're a
Yes.
smart person, I'm not saying smart or dumb, but...
They've had, yeah, I just think it's a little, I think it's very clever, but I suspect some people might go, what?
Okay,
Which-
hit me.
Yeah, can I?
Have you got time?
Mm-hmm. As always, I've always got time to hit you, mate.
Fred and I have a good time.
So the first one is, if I were an enzyme, I'd be a DNA helicase, so I could unzip your genes. That's genes with a G, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, that is quite smart.
I
see
it's
where
really
you would think...
clever.
If they get it, then they probably find the value in it. But
Yeah.
if they don't, they're like, what?
What? Why you want to unzip my jeans? Well, no. If they need explaining it, don't explain it to them. They don't need to be on Tinder.
Yeah. True.
The other one I've had sent in was, I've got all this cutlery, all these knives, all these forks, but I still need a little spoon.
Ooh. I've got 4 jokes to try out. 4
So-
jokes?
Opening lines, so.
I've got 4 opening lines to try out.
So thank you so much for sending those in. Callum will have a go with those. We'll report back. And he's actually going to follow on when people reply to him a bit more as well.
I will,
follow
yes.
up, not follow on. Follow up. Follow on as cricket.
Sorry, I think my confidence was shattered by my mirror's cracked.
You're not that ugly, Callum.
I know.
You're not an ugly lad. You don't do it for me, but you've got altogether too much penis.
Yeah, true. What, 2 inches is too much?
I was going to say double it, and then I realised that would still be disappointing.
It's not the size that matters, it's what you do with it.
Give her 6 inches, mate. You can f her 3 times.
That just brings to me. Hey babe, can you give me another 2 inches? I've been saying that like this whole time.
Anyway, I don't think I have any petty moans and victories for you. Oh, no.
No, you do.
I do. That was too much excitement, I'm sorry. So before we finish off, Callum,
Yeah.
do you have any petty moans or any petty wins? Your phone going off during a podcast is a petty moan.
I do have a petty victory that's been sent in, but first I'm going to do my petty moan, which I think a lot of people can relate to. I get it driving, it's like stressful and whatever, no problem.
Is it someone pointing at the bag that's on top of your car?
Oh no, I've gotten over that now. That's just daily routine. I just normally, if someone's behind me beeping, I'll stick my thumb out the window. Yeah, thank you. But it's, do you know when you're driving and you don't technically have to let someone come out?
Yeah.
Or you don't have to
They don't
make
have
space
priority.
for someone. Yeah. Well, what annoys me is when you've gone out of your way, say, just to let someone else out. All you can do is give a thanks, put your hazards on,
Oh, yes, no wave.
or if you've like, you know what, I'll pull in so then you can pull out and then,
Yes.
yeah. And no one they don't even acknowledge it. They're just like, yeah.
That is the most British complaint ever. Like, you let someone through, or you give them a little wave and they don't give you a wave back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're just seething.
I think the main one is when you let someone pull out when you could have just not stopped and there's a load of cars behind you and no, they're not going to get out. They could be sitting there for ages.
Yeah.
And you think, you know what, I'll do it.
I'll
I'll slow down, give them a
Yeah.
little flash, come out, and then they're just like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. I completely get that. That is horribly annoying, and it is petty because you're not doing it for the thanks. Really, you're doing it to be a good person. But the second you don't get thanked, seething me, absolutely seething. I actually had someone nearly hit me trying to just go past me. To be fair, yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, there was a lorry trying to pull into some kind of big old lorry car park. I don't know what they're called, but like a yard thing.
Yeah.
And a car had stopped quite close to it to
Let it out.
let it in.
Yeah.
And just behind that car, there were 2 cars parked on the other side of the road. So I thought, right, I'll give plenty of space just in case anyone needs to come through the other direction, so they can get past that car that's in front of me.
Yeah.
Round those parked cars and keep going, so we're not blocking off the entire street.
Yeah.
And some absolute coming up behind me
Overtakes you.
just comes back and zooms into that gap, and I go forward and he T-bones me. I've never ever get road rage, but the lorry was still turning, and I was half tempted to get out the car and ask him what he thought his problem was, because it's not like I was parked.
Yeah.
I was just waiting. Yeah, but no, he thought there's a gap. I'll have that.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that. Thank you for bringing back that
That was an
painful
Audi
memory.
driver, wasn't it? Or
No,
BMW?
it was don't know.
Oh, that's all
But
right.
if it was an Audi driver or a BMW driver, I'd have immediately gone, of course it is.
Yeah.
So it wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
But I do have a petty win that's been sent in for us that is on a vaguely similar topic, actually.
Excellent.
So here we go. I'm going to vaguely quote it. A utilities company parked across my driveway. I asked them to move the van, and they said in a minute. 20 minutes later, it was still there. This has been written like they're trying to write a dramatic novel. Then I got revenge. I called their office and said that it's now illegal to park across people's driveways, and could they update their staff right now, please? The unreasonable thing is I didn't actually need to use the car. I just felt I should be able to if I wanted to. So
that's nice.
yeah, thank you very much for sending that one in. On one hand, I actually do agree they really shouldn't be parking across people's driveways, but on the other hand, if you didn't need to use the car, yeah, that is very petty, so thank you for that. Did you say you had one as well, Mr. Callum?
I do. I did have one sent in, and it was for an anniversary. So the husband had bought his wife obviously a present, and the wife just hadn't even bothered. Said, "Oh, you don't deserve one." So he returned the present and then bought her an iron.
Ooh, that's divorce material right there on both sides.
Yeah. Well, if you don't think I deserve a present, then I think you deserve to do the ironing.
You're not married, Callum.
Yeah, but you know that's the.
Yeah. No, that is very petty. I mean, that is just a divorce waiting to happen. Now we've decided to show some professionalism.
Everything about me is unprofessional. You know this when you agreed to do a podcast with me.
Actually, I asked you to do a podcast with me, thank you.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you? I agreed to do a podcast.
I brought you in, you filthy peasant.
Yeah.
You're like Pygmalion.
Well, I mean, who's going to replace this?
What's the Pygmalion?
A pig that looks like an alien?
No. It was My Fair Lady, but the book.
Oh, okay.
The rain in space stays mainly on the plane. That one.
We get it, Lee. You're good at singing.
I mean, I did like 22 seconds. So
True.
I've got you singing you space in the outtakes.
Have I? Yeah.
Anyway, so let's just quickly cover how to contact us, and then I think we have pretty much hit the end of the podcast.
Yes.
So thank you once more to everyone who's been getting involved on our Facebook group. Please do keep being involved. Please do invite your friends.
Yeah.
Please do share the posts, because the more that's shared, the more people are going to get involved and the more fun we can all have. So just to get that out there, remind you once again, our Facebook group is Expresso Babe. That's EXPRESSO space Babe. Search it in the Facebook and you can find the Facebook. Search it on Facebook and you will find it right there. You can also reach us on email, which is expresso.babe@yahoo.com. So all that remains is for me to thank you for joining me as ever, Mr. Callum, and thank all of you that have listened to us again this week.
Always a pleasure.
Never a chore.
And I'd also like to thank you all for taking part in all of our polls we've done recently and putting feedback and comments on there. It's much appreciated. And that's bye-bye from me.
Yeah, goodbye, stay happy, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.